Hi, lovelies. Welcome back. This week, I want to cover a topic request that I got recently, which is a talk about misery. And misery, I'm going to say some stuff that kind of sounds like a paradox, so bear with me. But I think misery is one of those unique things that offers us a chance to see more about A, how our experience is created, and B, who and what we really are. And what I mean by that is that humans are not designed to be miserable. That's just the truth as I see it. We are not designed to be miserable. So while there's an element to misery that is kind of the same as everything else, and there's a video, I'll link to it below, that I did a few weeks ago on disappointment. And in it, I talked about how it's easy for us to take something and make it different and make it an exception and say, oh, this is not like every other thought and feeling. This is disappointment, or this is despair, or this is panic, or this is misery. So here's the first part of the paradox. The first part of the paradox is that misery is only as different as you make it. And so the same thing that we can say about disappointment or panic or heartbreak or any of these things that we kind of put off to the side and say, these are exceptions to how our experience works. Well, I'm here to tell you that it doesn't actually work that way. In truth, these things are not separate substances or entities or they're really just all forms that energy is taking as it moves through us. That's how our human experience is created. And at the same time, it's easy for us to mentally make something different and say, yeah, this isn't like the rest, this is something else, and then make it a thing. Like, oh, the principles don't apply here because this is panic, or this is grief, or this is misery, like this is different. And we do that at our own peril. And basically, I talk about this more in the video on disappointment, so I definitely recommend watching it if you haven't already. But the other side of the coin, the other bit of the paradox, is that humans are just not designed to be miserable. We're not. I mean, misery to me is the kind of prolonged and expanded and kind of continuous sense of just despair or discomfort or distress, and that is not how we're designed. So as always, the other side of the coin is when we know that that's not actually our true nature and that's not actually how we're meant to move through life and how we're meant to feel on a kind of chronic basis, it invites us to consider, what are we not seeing here? Like, in what ways are we not listening to our wisdom? In what ways are we not doing what our heart and soul, what our true nature knows is best for us if we're living in a state of misery? Because like I said, on one hand, it's normal to feel this stuff. Like, in the human lifetime, we are going to feel everything. We're going to feel misery. We're going to feel disappointment. We're going to feel grief. We're going to feel heartache. We're going to feel panic and fear and anxiety and stress and discomfort and loneliness and alienation. Like, we're gonna feel it. There's nothing wrong with them. They don't actually have any special or kind of exceptional, meaning the exception to, qualities versus anything else that we experience. But also, it's worth noting that if we're living in a constant experience of misery, or a constant experience of panic, or a constant experience of really anything that's debilitating and chronic, it invites us to remember that that is not our true nature. That is not how we're designed. That is not the best and most beautiful in us coming forward. That is a lot of thinking that's being taken seriously, and it's a lot of experience that isn't actually being seen for what it is. And so it invites us to go back to, what am I not seeing about this? What can I learn about this? What is there for me to discover about myself? What is wisdom telling me here? That's a huge thing. Like, if we're feeling miserable a lot, what is wisdom telling us? Because it's not telling us that we deserve to be miserable. It's not telling us to keep doing the same old stuff that makes us stay in a prolonged chronic feeling of misery. Wisdom would never do that. So it does invite us to go back to the drawing board and really see, okay, what is going on here on a deeper level? And so therein lies the paradox. On one hand, misery isn't special. Nothing we experience is as special and different and unique as we make it. And on the other hand, we have the opportunity to realize that when something is so fundamentally misaligned with our true nature, and when we're having such a lasting chronic experience of it, then it's something we're not seeing. There's something we're taking way too seriously. There's something that we're imbuing with a lot more importance and significance and validity than it actually has. And there's something that we're not seeing. There's something that we're not hearing. There's a deeper wisdom at play that we're not listening to. And that gives us an opportunity to be in the unknown, be in discovery, be in what am I not seeing here? What can I learn about this? What is my wisdom telling me? And that's a really beautiful, really kind of productive and just lovely place to be. So I hope that helps whoever wanted to hear a bit about misery. And like I said, I will link to the one about disappointment below, because I think that was a kind of more in-depth explanation about how it's so easy for us to lead ourselves astray when we make something be totally different to the logic and the kind of beauty of the principles. So I hope this helps. As always, if you have any questions, any comments, or any requests, please leave them in the comments below. Subscribe if you like these videos. They come out every Friday. And I will be with you next week. So take care, be well, lots of love, and we'll speak soon.